Hello there fellow modellers, Steve here, and I hope everybody's enjoying the fantastic weather. Started off a bit rainy this morning, but as the days got on it's got very good. Right, it's been about 2 or 3 weeks since I last made a video and I'm consulting my notes here. And I've just got to start off with a few shout outs. Then I've got some of my old models out, dusted them down, cleaned them up as best I can, bear in mind they're very old. And then I've got some updates on the builds I've got. So we'll start off with the shout outs. Now my last video I got a few more replies, and I got one from a guy called Hardy Hood 1 from the States. He goes by the name of Pete's Models, I think. Alright there, Pete. Now he made a comment about the Cutty Sark. He said there was too much rigging. Now I wonder what he meant by that. Maybe you could enlighten us in your next comment when you watch my video. Now I subscribed to him, watched a couple of his videos, and I liked the one he did of the Aero Cobra. Now it's a plane that I've never actually made myself, but it looked good for a 1/72nd scale. Very good finish, and I liked it. And you did I think you did a Hawker Hurricane as well, and I liked that. And next we'll go on to Frankie Deer. Alright there, Frankie. Now it was recommended to you by Lenny, because he says you've got to see this bloke. He makes models out of cardboard. He paused for a bit, then he said, yes, I did say cardboard. So I thought, well, I've got to see this, because it's something I've never really heard of, making models out of cardboard. So I clicked on to Frankie, watched a couple of his videos, and I was just blown away, speechless. They were absolutely fantastic. Now when Lenny said cardboard, I thought, oh, he's making them out of cardboard boxes, cereal packets. But you actually explained that there's a proper website in Poland somewhere that you can download, you get all the plans. But it's something that I couldn't make. I mightn't have the patience, but you have. And I've watched a few of them. I like the one of the HMS Mauritania, which to me is a local ship, because it was built by Swan Hunter, which is just up the road from where I live now. And I also like the one of the USS West Virginia. And I've also watched a few of your videos you did of the plastic kits, and they're just fantastic. And they're all 1/32nd and 1/48th scale. I don't think you're into making the 1/72nd anymore. So I'll just like to say, and I'll keep on watching, because it's a fantastic way to find different things about how to do things. It's something I wouldn't try myself, making a cardboard model, but you obviously seem to be good at it. Very good at it, in fact. Right, we'll leave the shout outs now and we'll go to the X models. Right, I'll have to move a bit now. And we'll start off with this, which is the USS Dwight D Eisenhower, CVN 69. I'll zoom in a bit there. Flight deck there with a few planes on. Second of the Nimitz class aircraft carriers, named after the famous World War II general who later went on to become the 35th President of the United States. Now these ships are just absolutely awesome. I've never actually seen one up close, but I would really like to. I mean, to step on this flight deck, which measures over 4.5 acres, it must be some size. And to have it crammed full of aeroplanes will just be out of this world. I'll zoom in a bit more. Now I've put a bit of a flight deck scenario on here. I'll get me pointer. To start off with, I have a couple of F-14 Tomcats ready to be launched on catapults 1 and 2. And if you notice there's an F-14 Tomcat that's already on its way off, straight into the air. There's an E2C Hawkeye there, waiting to be launched, and there's a one that's just come up from the hangar deck with its wings folded. And here we have an A3 Sky Warrior. Now when I built this model, it's on a period when these were used as radar intercept or ECM platforms, because their days as bombers were well gone. And it's, to date, operationally, it's the biggest aircraft to fly from a US aircraft carrier. And if you notice here, we've got an F-14 Tomcat that's actually missed the arrestor wires and is on full power, ready to go around to try again. A bolter, as it's known. And here we have an A7 Corsair on the port aft aircraft elevator, and there we have an A6 Intruder on the starboard aft elevator. A great ship, and I would love to stand on the flight deck of one of these. Fantastic model and a fantastic ship. And now we'll start off, we'll go back a bit to when Britannia really did rule the waves. This is HMS Hood, one of a planned class of 4 battle cruisers, but due to the Washington Treaty 3 of them were cancelled, and because HMS Hood was, I would say, about 50% complete, it was allowed to be finished. And this ship measured over 860 feet long, 42,000 tons, and at its time it was the biggest and longest warship in the world. And I happen to think it's one of the most beautiful warships ever built. You look at it and it's just long, lean lines, built for speed. 8 15-inch guns. My hand's shaking now, and I've actually put a bit of rigging on. And I've got a close-up there, I think, of the white ensign. And what I've did is I've turned the turrets to port as though it was firing a port broadside, which must have been one awesome sight. Tragically, this ship was sunk by the German battleship Bismarck in May 1941, with a miraculous 3 survivors out of 1,000 and odd crew. A beautiful, magnificent ship. Now we'll go on to this one. If I can get it to stand right. Which is the Bell UH1 Iroquois. I think I've pronounced that right. Bearing in mind that all American helicopters were named after Indian tribes. A bit of a close-up there. But everybody will know it as the Bell Huey. Workhorse of the US Army in the Vietnam War. No longer in service, I don't think, with any US air arm, but a number of foreign air arms still have it in service. Bit of a turn around there. It did have 2 machine guns on either side, but I don't know where they have went. And just as a bit of a personal decoration, I've put 2 crossed swords there. Could have been operated by an ex-cavalry unit. Good workhorse of a helicopter. Now this one is an F5F Tiger II, mainly used by the American Navy and United States Air Force to train their pilots, because it has very similar characteristics to Russian fighters. Bearing in mind this was when the Cold War was still at its height, before the fall of communism in the Soviet Union. As you can see, it has the Russian red stars on its wings, and the pilot has got a white helmet on. Bit of a personal touch. Camouflage is very striking. Doesn't resemble any unit of such. Just a few spare markings that I had and I've put them on. I don't know that. A side view of it. And that's that one there. This one is a bit of a what if. I can get something that'll keep it from going sitting on its tail. There you go. This is a British Aerospace, I don't know what the designation is, but it's a ground attack aircraft, single seat, and the what if is painted in air superiority blue, and it carries the markings of the South African Air Force. Now they didn't operate this, as I said, it's a what if. A scenario, say, because of the arms embargo when apartheid was on, which is when I built this, South Africa could have wanted a cheap air defence fighter. The nation could have sold them with a bucket load of spares, and they've got a cheap air defence fighter. And I've put 4 missiles on the bottom. It bears the classic, I'm going to zoom in there, South African markings on the tail, no, not on the tail, on the wings and below the cockpit. It's just a spare kit I had and I thought, yeah, that sounds good. Right, we'll put that down there. Now this one is the Blackburn Buccaneer, painted in the markings of, I'll zoom in, of 801 Naval Air Squadron. When this squadron was operating this type, they were flying from HMS Victorious. Now I put this in because I was watching one of Lenny's videos and he managed to buy a Buccaneer S2 1/48th scale, and he said it is one of his favourite aircraft. It also happens to be one of mine as well, so I've sent him a message that I've got a 1/72nd scale in navy markings. Quite a good colour scheme. Take the canopy off. Bit of a detail in the cockpit there. And we get a look underneath without the canopy falling off. And it's carrying 4 missiles. Now these, I think, are Martel air-to-surface missiles. This was from another kit because this basically is an RAF Buccaneer. And something's come off. But since the RAF and the Royal Navy operated Buccaneers, they were basically the same. And the RAF got what was left of the Navy's Buccaneers when HMS Iroquois decommissioned in 1978. Also operated by the South African Air Force. Very good. Designed as a low-level, under-the-radar strike aircraft, and it served the Royal Navy well for over 20 years, and the RAF over 20 years. Right, we'll put that down. So that one's for you, Lenny. Whether you make your kit in a Navy marking, I'm not sure. But judging by the video I seen of you the other day, and your stash in the loft, you've got a hell of a lot of kits to make. Now we'll go on to the updates. Now this is the airspeed hawser. Now I've managed to get the matte black underside paint on. Invasion stripes. And this is a first for me with the canopy there. It all looks black at the moment, but when I take the tape off, you should get a nice framework. All I've got to do now is put the camouflage on the top, and then it should be finished. Good one. And this is the Shackleton. I've never really did much with this. All I've got on is really the wheels are fixed. The bomb-bay is all sealed up. And just a few odds on there. This, what is known as the spark plug. It's an electronic countermeasures device of some description. But that's all I've actually done with this. All the gaps are filled in now, and it's just ready to be painted. And this is the Mashi MC202. As you can see, I have the top coat on, the underside, but now I've just got to put what they call the mottled camouflage, which is dots of a different colour, typical of most Italian aircraft, which will be a bit of a test because I've never done anything like this before. Tried with a cotton bud, I think, and a bit of plastic to see how it goes, but that's turning out really well. A nice shape of a fighter, very clean lines. And this is just what I've got done of the Tornado so far. Cockpit's in. This is a first for me as well. I'll put it up close if you can see. Straps in the seats. They're basically just tape, but it's something that I've seen a lot of people do on YouTube, and I thought, I'll have a go. And it seems to have worked out right. And I've also got what hopefully will not stop it being a tail sitter, which is the weight that goes in the nose. A couple of nuts and a bolt that weighs exactly 15 grams. So that's it, modelers, for now. It's quite warm up here now. I'll have to put the fan on. So, keep modelling, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!